Hyunwoo wiped the sweat from his face as he finished checking the last air filter in the terraforming station. The night shift was almost over and he was tired. Tomorrow would bring another day of the same work, but he did not mind. Life on New Sol Colony was simple and quiet, just the way he liked it. The stars outside the station windows looked different than the ones back on Earth. His grandmother used to tell him stories about Earth's night sky, but Hyunwoo had never seen it himself. He was born here on Kepler 442b, where the sky was always a deep purple color, and two small moons hung like silver coins. He picked up his toolbox and started walking toward the exit. The hallways were empty and dark except for the soft blue lights that stayed on all night. His footsteps echoed in the silence. In a few hours, the day workers would arrive and fill these halls with noise and activity. But for now, everything was peaceful. As Hyunwoo stepped outside the building, something fast and small rushed past him. At first, he thought it might be one of the small animals that lived in the colony's gardens. But then he heard something that made him stop and turn around. It was crying. Behind him, pressed against the wall of the building, was a small figure. At first glance, Hyunwoo thought it was a human child. But as his eyes got used to the dim light, he saw that this was something completely different. The creature was about the size of a 10-year-old human girl, but her skin was a soft blue color that seemed to glow slightly in the darkness. Her hair was white like fresh snow and moved gently even though there was no wind. Her eyes were the most unusual thing about her. They were large and silver like liquid metal, and they were filled with fear. She wore what looked like a torn piece of fabric around her small body. There were strange marks on her arms that looked like they were made of light, pulsing slowly like a heartbeat. But what made Hyunwoo's chest tighten was the way she was shaking. Whatever this creature was, she was terrified. The small being looked up at him with those silver eyes. She made a soft sound, almost like a bird's call, but sadder. Then she did something that surprised Hyunwoo completely. She ran to him and hid behind his legs like a scared child hiding behind a parent. Hyunwoo felt her small hands grab onto his work clothes. She was warm, warmer than a human, and he could feel her whole body shaking. He wanted to say something to comfort her, but he did not know if she could understand human language. "Hey, it's okay," he said softly, the way his mother used to talk to him when he was scared. "You're safe." The creature looked up at him, and for a moment her silver eyes seemed to glow brighter. But then they both heard something that made the fear return to her face. Heavy footsteps were coming toward them. Multiple sets of boots hitting the ground in perfect rhythm, like soldiers marching. Bright lights appeared in the distance, moving closer fast. The small being pressed herself closer to Hyunwoo's legs and made a sound like a whimper. Whatever was coming, she was more afraid of them than she had been of him. 6 figures in dark armor appeared around the corner of the building. They had weapons and bright lights that they pointed in all directions. Their faces were hidden behind helmets, but Hyunwoo could see the symbol on their chests, the Galactic Enforcement Division. "You there?" one of them called out in a rough voice. "Have you seen anything unusual?" "We're looking for an escaped specimen." Specimen. The word made something cold move through Hyunwoo's stomach. They were talking about the small creature behind him like she was just an object, not a living being. "I haven't seen anything." Hyunwoo lied. He did not know why he lied. Something inside him just knew that these soldiers meant harm to the small creature. The soldier who had spoken stepped closer. "Are you sure?" "The tracking device shows it came this way. Small, blue-skinned, about this tall." He held his hand at the height of a child. "I've been working alone all night," Hyunwoo said, keeping his voice steady. "Just finished my shift. Haven't seen any specimens." The creatures behind his legs had gone completely still. Hyunwoo could barely feel her breathing. The soldiers looked around with their bright lights, checking behind containers and equipment. One of them came very close to where Hyunwoo was standing. The small being pressed herself so tightly against the back of his legs that she was almost invisible. "This sector is under human control," Hyunwoo said when the soldier got too close. "You need special permission to search here." The soldier stopped and looked at him. "We have authority to search anywhere when chasing escaped property." "Property?" Hyunwoo felt anger rise in his chest. "What kind of property?" "That's classified information," the soldier said. "If you see anything, report it immediately. There's a reward for information leading to recovery." The soldiers spent a few more minutes searching the area, but they did not find anything. The small creature stayed hidden behind Hyunwoo the whole time, not moving or making any sound. Finally, the soldiers gave up and started to leave. But their leader turned back to look at Hyunwoo one more time. "We'll be watching this area," he said. "If that specimen shows up, we'll know." When the soldiers were gone and their lights had disappeared in the distance, Hyunwoo felt the small creature slowly relax behind him. She stepped out from behind his legs and looked up at him with those strange silver eyes. She made a soft sound, almost like, "Thank you," in a language he had never heard before. Then she reached out with one small hand and gently touched his arm. Where she touched him, he felt warmth and something else, a feeling of deep gratitude and trust. Hyunwoo looked down at her scared face and made a decision that would change everything. "Come on," he said quietly. "Let's get you somewhere safe." The small creature nodded and took his hand. Her skin was soft and warm, and those light marks on her arms glowed a little brighter, as if she felt hope for the first time in a long while. Together, they walked away from the terraforming station and into the quiet streets of New Seoul Colony, while the purple sky above them slowly started to change color as dawn approached. Hyunwoo's apartment was small but clean. He lived alone in one of the worker housing buildings near the edge of the colony. As he opened the door, he wondered what he was doing. He had just brought an alien creature to his home, and he did not even know if she was dangerous. But when he looked down at her scared face, all his doubts went away. Whatever she was just a frightened child who needed help. The small creature stepped inside carefully, looking around at everything with curious silver eyes. She seemed amazed by simple things like the lights that turned on automatically and the soft furniture. When she saw her reflection in the bathroom mirror, she made a surprised sound and touched the glass gently. Hyunwoo got some clean clothes from his closet, an old shirt that would be like a dress on her small body. When he offered it to her, she looked confused for a moment. Then she understood and smiled for the first time. Her smile was beautiful, like sunlight on water. While she changed clothes in the bathroom, Hyunwoo called his sister So-young. She was studying alien life at the colony's research center, and she would know what to do. "Hyunwoo, it's 4 a.m. So-young's sleepy voice came through the communicator. "I need your help," he said quietly. "Can you come to my apartment? And bring your translation device." "Translation device? Why do you—" So-young stopped talking. She knew her brother well enough to know when something was serious. "I'll be there in 20 minutes. When the small creature came out of the bathroom wearing his old shirt, Hyunwoo saw the injuries on her back for the first time. There were strange burn marks between her shoulder blades like someone had hurt her with an energy weapon. The marks looked painful and were still red around the edges. She saw him looking and quickly tried to hide the injuries. She was ashamed, as if they were her fault somehow. "It's okay," Hyunwoo said softly. "My sister is coming. She can help fix those." The creature tilted her head, not understanding his words but seeming to understand his kind tone. She pointed to herself and made a sound that was like Nari in Korean. Then she pointed to him with a questioning look. "Hyunwoo," he said, pointing to himself. Then he pointed to her. "Nari?" She nodded happily and repeated his name in her musical voice. "Hyunwoo." It sounded beautiful the way she said it. When So-young arrived, she stopped in the doorway and stared. She had studied many different alien species, but she had never seen anything like Nari before. "Oh my," So-young whispered. "She's beautiful." "What species is she?" "I don't know," Hyunwoo said. "Some soldiers were chasing her. They called her a specimen." So-young's face became angry. "Specimen? She's obviously intelligent. Look at the way she's watching us." Nari had been standing quietly, but when So-young brought out the translation device, she became excited. She seemed to recognize what it was. The device was small and round, designed to pick up brain patterns and translate thoughts into understandable language. So-young placed it gently on Nari's forehead. At first, nothing happened. Then the device started making soft beeping sounds as it worked to understand Nari's alien thoughts. "Hello," came a small voice from the device. It sounded like a young girl speaking Korean. "Thank you for helping me." So-young and Hyunwoo looked at each other in surprise. The device was working perfectly. "What's your name?" So-young asked gently. "My name sounds like what you called me. Nari. I like that you chose a name that means flower in your language." "Where are you from, Nari?" Hyunwoo asked. The translation device was quiet for a long moment. When Nari's voice came through again, it was full of sadness. "I come from a place that is no more. My people are called Lumina. We used to live on a world with crystal cities and singing rivers. But the coalition found us and said we were useful. Useful for what? So Young asked. Nari's light marks began to pulse faster and her translated voice became frightened. We can clean poisoned air and water. Our bodies can take the bad things from a planet and make them safe. The Coalition took my people to worlds that were dying and made us work there. That sounds like good work, Hyunwoo said, confused. It was killing us, Nari said through the device. When we clean the poison, it hurts us. When we work alone, it burns us from inside. My people were dying one by one, but the Coalition did not care. They just brought more of us from our home world. So Young checked the injuries on Nari's back with a medical scanner. Her face became serious as she read the results. These burns are from radiation poisoning, she said to Hyunwoo. Someone made her work in a very dangerous place. My parents saved me, Nari continued. When the transport ship was moving us to another poison world, they broke open an escape pod. They pushed me inside and sent me away. The last thing I saw was them being hurt by the guards. Tears began to fall from Nari's silver eyes. They glowed softly as they rolled down her blue cheeks. I don't know if they are still alive, she said. The escape pod was set to find the nearest safe world. It brought me here because someone told my mother that humans were different from other species. They said humans fight for people who cannot fight for themselves. Hyunwoo felt his heart break for this small, brave creature. She had lost everything but still had hope that strangers would help her. How many of your people are left? So Young asked. I don't know. There were thousands of us when they first took us. But many died on the poison worlds. Some got sick and could not work anymore, so the Coalition... Nari stopped talking. What did they do? Hyunwoo asked, though he was afraid of the answer. They threw them away, Nari whispered. Like broken tools. So Young and Hyunwoo looked at each other. They both understood now why the soldiers had been chasing Nari. To them, she was not a person. She was valuable property that had escaped. The Coalition will keep looking for me, Nari said. They will not stop. I am worth too much to them. Then we need to make sure they don't find you, Hyunwoo said firmly. But where can I hide? They have tracking devices and ships that can search everywhere. So Young was quiet for a moment, thinking. Then she smiled. Maybe you don't need to hide, she said. Maybe you need to be seen by the right people. What do you mean? Nari asked. My brother is right. Humans are different. When we learn that someone is being hurt, we don't just look the other way. We do something about it, Hyunwoo nodded. So Young is right. But first we need to take care of your injuries and make sure you're safe. Nari looked at both of them with her silver eyes. The light marks on her arms pulsed in a steady, calm rhythm for the first time since Hyunwoo had found her. You really want to help me? She asked. Even though it might be dangerous for you? Yes, Hyunwoo said without hesitation. That's what humans do. For the first time since she had arrived, Nari looked like she believed she might actually be safe. The next morning, word about Nari spread quietly through the colony. So Young had been careful about who she told, but the story was too important to keep completely secret. By afternoon, several key people knew that a Lumina refugee was hiding in New Seoul Colony. The first person to visit was Lee Dong-min, the colony's head of security. He was a serious man with gray hair and old scars on his hands from his time as a soldier on Earth. When he knocked on Hyunwoo's door, Nari immediately hid behind the couch. It's okay, Hyunwoo told her. He's here to help. Dong-min looked at Nari for a long time without saying anything. Then he sat down on the floor so he would not seem so tall and scary to her. Hello, little one, he said in a gentle voice. I was a soldier once, but I never fought for the Coalition. I fought to protect people like you. Nari came out from behind the couch slowly. She looked at Dong-min's face and seemed to see something there that made her trust him. We have a problem, Dong-min said to Hyunwoo. This morning I got a message from the Coalition forces. They want to search every building in the colony. Can they do that? So Young asked. Not legally. Human colonies have protection under the Galactic Treaty, but they're claiming this is about recovering stolen property, not searching human territory. Nari is not property, Hyunwoo said angrily. You and I know that, but the Coalition has different ideas about what makes someone a person. Dong-min pulled out his communicator and showed them a message. This came in an hour ago. It's from the human colony on Kepler 438c. They're hiding 3 Lumina refugees there. So Young read the message quickly. They want to know if we've seen any others. And that's not all, Dong-min said. He showed them more messages. 17 human colonies have reported finding Lumina refugees in the past 6 months. Some found just 1 or 2, but the colony on Ross 128b is hiding 47. Nari listened to this conversation through the translation device. Her silver eyes grew wide with hope. Other survivors? She asked. My people are alive? Yes, Dongmin said. And they all came to human worlds. None went to coalition planets or other alien species. Why? Hyunwoo asked. Nari was quiet for a moment. Then she said, before my mother pushed me into the escape pod, she told me something. She said there was a story among my people about a species that would help us, a species that saw others as people, not things. She was talking about humans? So Young asked. Yes. Some of my people worked with humans before the coalition enslaved us. They said humans were different. When they saw someone being hurt, they would step in to help, even if it was dangerous for them. Dr. Kim Yoo-jin arrived just as Nari finished speaking. She was the colony's chief scientist, a woman with kind eyes and quick hands. She carried a bag full of medical equipment. Let me look at those injuries, she said to Nari. And I want to understand how your biology works. As Dr. Kim examined Nari, she explained what she was finding to the others. These burn marks are from forced cellular reconstruction, she said. Someone made her body process toxins at a dangerous speed. It's like forcing someone to run until their heart explodes. The coalition made all my people work this way, Nari said sadly. They said we were built for it, so it was okay. That's horrible, Dr. Kim said. Your species clearly was not meant to work alone like this. What do you mean? Dongmin asked. Dr. Kim pointed to the light marks on Nari's arms. These patterns suggest she's meant to connect with others of her kind. See how they pulse? They're trying to sync with something that isn't there. Other lumina, Nari said. We work together in groups. When we clean poison from air or water, we share the work between many of us. That way no one gets hurt. But the coalition separated you? So Young asked. Yes, they said we worked too slowly in groups. They wanted each of us to do the work of 10, even if it killed us. Before anyone could respond, Choi Min-ho burst through the door. He was the colony's communications officer, and he looked very worried. We have a big problem, he said. I've been monitoring coalition frequencies. They're planning something called Operation Recovery. What's that? Hyunwoo asked. Min-ho pulled out a recording device. Listen to this. A cold voice filled the room. All human colonies harboring stolen Lumina specimens will surrender them within 72 hours. Failure to comply will result in immediate seizure of assets and suspension of colonial rights. They can't do that, So Young said. They think they can, Min-ho replied. I intercepted other messages too. They're sending warships to every human colony that has Lumina refugees. How many ships? Dongmin asked. For us, just one, but it's a big one. For the colonies with more refugees, they're sending whole fleets. Nari looked terrified. I should leave, she said. I should not bring danger to you. No, Hyunwoo said firmly. You're not going anywhere. But they will hurt you because of me. Let them try, Dongmin said. His old soldier's anger was showing. I've fought bullies before. Dr. Kim was studying her medical readings. There's something else we need to know, she said. Nari, what happens to your people when they're forced to work alone for too long? We get sick, Nari said. The poison builds up inside us. Eventually, we cannot clean it out anymore and we die. How long does that take? Most of my people died after 2 or 3 years of working alone. Dr. Kim showed her readings to the others. Nari has been working alone for months. Her body is already showing signs of poisoning buildup. Can you help her? Hyunwoo asked, worried. Maybe. But I need to understand more about how her species is supposed to work. Nari's light marks pulsed sadly. I cannot show you. There are no other Lumina here. Actually, So Young said thoughtfully, there might be a way. What if we could connect you with the other survivors, the ones on other human colonies? How? Dongmin asked. Quantum communication, Min-ho said, understanding immediately. We could set up a link between all the colonies hiding Lumina. Would that work? Dr. Kim asked Nari. I don't know. We have never tried to connect across such distances, but you're willing to try. Nari nodded. Yes, and if it works, maybe I can learn if my parents are still alive. Dongmin stood up. Then we have a plan. We help the Lumina connect with each other, and we tell the coalition that we're not giving up these people. That's going to start a war, Min-ho warned. Maybe, Dongmin said. But sometimes wars start because someone finally decides to do the right thing. Nari looked around at all the humans who were willing to fight for her and her people. The light marks on her arms pulsed brighter than they had since she arrived. "Why?" she asked. "Why would you risk so much for us?" Hyunwoo sat down next to her. "Because that's what makes us human," he said. "We don't leave people behind." Outside, the sun was setting over New Seoul Colony. Soon the Coalition warship would arrive. But for the first time in years, Nari felt something she had almost forgotten: hope. The Coalition warship arrived at New Seoul Colony exactly when they said it would. The massive vessel hung in the purple sky like a dark cloud, casting shadows over the entire settlement. But something was different from what the Coalition commanders expected. Instead of a frightened colony ready to hand over their refugee, they found every human standing together in the main square. And standing with them, not hiding behind them, were the Lumina. Nari stood next to Hyunwoo, her hand in his. The light marks on her arms pulsed in rhythm with his heartbeat, and his skin had taken on a faint, healthy glow that matched hers. Around them, other humans had formed similar partnerships with Lumina who had arrived from other colonies during the night. The quantum communication system had allowed something amazing to happen. Lumina, who had been separated for years, were able to connect across space and work together again. And humans, it turned out, could join that connection. Captain Vex of the Coalition warship materialized in the square with his soldiers. He was a tall, gray-skinned being with 4 arms and cold black eyes. He looked at the crowd with disgust. "I am here to collect the stolen property of the Galactic Coalition," he announced. "Surrender the Lumina specimens immediately." Governor Han stepped forward. "There are no specimens here, Captain. Only people. The Lumina are registered as mining equipment," Captain Vex said. "They belong to the Coalition." "Mining equipment doesn't have names," Nari said, stepping forward. "Mining equipment doesn't cry when their families are taken away." Captain Vex looked at her with surprise. "The specimen can speak?" "Her name is Nari," Hyunwoo said firmly. "And she's not going anywhere." "You are interfering with lawful property recovery," the captain said. His soldiers raised their weapons. "Actually," said a new voice, "you are interfering with a legal partnership agreement." Everyone turned to see a group of people walking into the square. They wore the blue uniforms of the Galactic Council's mediation service. Leading them was an elderly woman with silver hair and sharp eyes. "Mediator Yilis," Captain Vex said, clearly surprised. "What are you doing here?" "Investigating reports of illegal slavery," Mediator Yilis replied. "The human colonies have filed a formal complaint with the Galactic Council." She walked over to where Nari and Hyunwoo stood together. The light marks on Nari's arms were pulsing steadily, and Hyunwoo's skin had that same healthy glow. "Fascinating," the mediator said. "May I scan you both?" They nodded, and she ran a small device over them. Her eyes widened as she read the results. "Captain Vex," she said, "you have a problem. These 2 beings are biologically linked. Separating them now would cause severe harm to both." "That's impossible," the captain said. "Lumina cannot bond with other species." "Apparently they can," Mediator Yilis said. "And according to galactic law, any being capable of forming consensual partnerships with other species is classified as sapient, not property." Captain Vex's black eyes grew angry. "The Coalition will not accept this interpretation." "The Coalition doesn't get to choose," the mediator said firmly. "I'm declaring an immediate investigation into the treatment of the Lumina species." Dr. Kim stepped forward with her research data. "Mediator, I have evidence that the Coalition has been forcing the Lumina to work in ways that damage their health. And we have evidence that they work better in partnership," Seong-hwan added. "Look around you." For the first time, Captain Vex really looked at the colony. The air was cleaner than it had been in years. The plants were greener and healthier. Even the buildings looked brighter and newer. "Impossible," he muttered. "One day," Elder Joran said, stepping forward. He was one of the older Lumina who had arrived during the night. "In one day, working with human partners, we have done more healing than we accomplished in months of working alone." Mediator Yilis ran her scanner over the entire area. "The environmental improvement readings are remarkable." "How are you doing this?" Nari looked up at Hyunwoo and he nodded encouragingly. "When Lumina work alone, the poison we clean builds up inside us," she explained. "It hurts us and eventually kills us. But when we work with humans, we can share the load between us. The work becomes easier and safer. And faster," So Young added. "They're completing terraforming tasks in days that used to take months." "More importantly," Dr. Kim said, Both species benefit. The humans become healthier too. Captain Vex was getting desperate. This is a trick. Some kind of human deception. Actually, said another new voice, it's the future. A coalition counselor materialized in the square. She was from the Altani species, tall and elegant with blue-green skin. Captain Vex immediately stood at attention. Counselor Shan, he said nervously. Captain Vex, you are relieved of duty pending investigation, Counselor Shan said. Your treatment of the Lumina species has brought shame on the coalition. She turned to address the crowd. I have been monitoring the situation on all 17 human colonies. What I have seen today changes everything. What do you mean? Governor Han asked. The old way of terraforming was cruel and inefficient. We enslaved the Lumina because we thought it was the only way to use their abilities. But you have shown us something better. Counselor Shan walked over to where a human and Lumina pair were working together to purify a patch of ground. Their combined effort was making flowers bloom where nothing had grown before. The coalition wishes to propose a new agreement, she said. Not slavery, but true partnership. Elder Joran spoke for his people. What kind of partnership? Full citizenship in the Galactic Coalition for all Lumina, fair payment for terraforming work, and the right to choose your own human partners. And if we refuse? Nari asked. Then you are free to stay here with the humans who protected you, Counselor Shan said. But I hope you will consider helping us fix the mistakes we have made. Nari looked at Hyunwoo. What do you think? I think, Hyunwoo said, that the choice is yours. But whatever you decide, we'll face it together. Nari smiled that beautiful smile that had become familiar to everyone in the colony. Then I choose to help. But not as a slave, as a partner. One by one, the other Lumina made the same choice. They would work to heal poisoned worlds, but only with human partners they trusted, and only as equals. Mediator Yillis began drawing up the formal agreements. Captain Vex and his soldiers were taken away for questioning. Counselor Shan stayed to work out the details of the new partnership program. As the sun set over New Sol Colony, Nari and Hyunwoo sat together on a hill overlooking the settlement. The air smelled like flowers and rain, and the two moons were rising in the purple sky. Are you happy with your choice? Hyunwoo asked. Nari's light marks pulsed in the steady, calm rhythm that meant she was content. Yes, for the first time since I was a child, I feel like I belong somewhere. You know this is going to change everything, right? The way the galaxy works, the way species interact with each other. Good, Nari said. It needed to change. Below them, human and Lumina partners worked together in the gardens, making the plants grow strong and healthy. Children from both species played together, learning each other's languages and customs. Hyunwoo, Nari said. Yes? Thank you for lying to those soldiers on the first night. Thank you for protecting me when you didn't even know who I was. Hyunwoo squeezed her hand gently. That's what humans do, he said. We protect people who need protecting. And that's what Lumina do too, Nari said. We heal things that are broken. Together they watched the stars come out in the alien sky. Somewhere among those stars, other worlds were being healed by human Lumina partnerships. Other beings were learning what it meant to work together as equals instead of master and slave. It had all started with a frightened alien girl who ran to hide behind a human engineer. But it became something much bigger. Proof that the universe was better when people took care of each other. And in the gardens below, flowers bloomed in colors that had never been seen before, as two species learned to create beauty together. Governor Han Aecha stood in the colony's main meeting hall, looking at the faces of everyone who had come to hear her speak. The hall was full. Word had spread about Nari and the coalition's demands, and now the whole colony had to decide what to do. 3 hours ago, the governor said, I received an official demand from the Galactic Coalition. They want us to hand over the Lumina refugee we are protecting. Some people in the crowd looked worried. Others looked angry, but no one looked surprised. I want everyone to understand what this means, Governor Han continued. If we refuse, the coalition says they will take away our colonial rights. They might even force us to leave this world. An old woman near the front raised her hand. What happens to the girl if we give her to them? Dr. Kim stood up to answer. She dies. Maybe not today, maybe not tomorrow, but soon. Her body is already damaged from the work they forced her to do. And what about the others? Someone else asked. The other Lumina on different colonies? Minho had set up a communication link with 17 other human colonies. The main screen in the hall showed faces of governors and colony leaders from across human space. "We're all facing the same choice," said Governor Chen from the Ross 128b colony. His colony was hiding 47 Lumina refugees. "The Coalition wants all of them back. How much time do we have?" asked a voice from the Kepler 438c colony. "Their ships will reach the closest colonies in 18 hours, Minho reported. The furthest colonies have maybe 3 days. Governor Han looked around the room. "Before we vote, I want you to meet someone." Nari walked onto the stage holding Hyunwoo's hand. She still looked small and fragile, but the fear in her silver eyes had been replaced by something else: determination. With the translation device, she spoke to the crowded room. "My name is Nari," she said. "I know that helping me puts you in danger. I know the Coalition is powerful and you are just one small colony." The room was completely quiet, everyone listening to her translated voice. "But I want you to know something about my people. We do not just clean poison from air and water. We can feel the life in a world. We can sense when a planet is healthy or sick." She paused and her light marks pulsed gently. "This world, your new soul colony, feels different from any place I've ever been. It feels like kindness. It feels like a place where people take care of each other." An engineer named Oshung Hwan raised his hand. "Nari, if we protect you, what happens next? Even if we fight off the Coalition, how do we help your people in the long term?" It was Dr. Kim who answered. "We've been studying that. In the past 2 days, I've learned something amazing about Lumina biology." She put new images on the main screen. They showed brain scans and energy readings. The Coalition has been using the Lumina wrong. They force them to work alone, which is killing them. But Lumina are meant to work with other species. "What do you mean?" Governor Han asked. "Their biology is designed for partnership. When a Lumina works with a compatible species, the toxic processing is shared between both beings. Either one gets hurt." The room buzzed with excited whispers. "Are humans compatible?" someone asked. Dr. Kim smiled. "More than compatible. We're perfect partners. When I ran tests with Nari's permission, I found that humans have exactly the right kind of neural patterns to link with Lumina safely." Xing Huan stood up again. "You mean we could help them do their work without anyone dying?" "Better than that," Dr. Kim said. "Together, a human and Lumina team can clean a poisoned world in weeks instead of years. And both species actually become healthier during the process." Nari's eyes grew bright with hope. "Is this true?" "My people could work without dying. If they have human partners, yes." The implications hit everyone at the same time. They were not just talking about saving Nari anymore. They were talking about completely changing how terraforming worked in the galaxy. Governor Han called for order as the excited talking grew louder. "This changes things," she said. "We're not just protecting refugees anymore. We're proposing a completely new way of doing things." On the communication screens, the other colony leaders were having similar discussions with their own people. "My colony votes to protect our Lumina," announced Governor Park from Kepler 442c, "and we volunteer to be part of this partnership program." "Same here," said Governor Kim from the Tau Ceti colony. "We stand with the Lumina." One by one, all 17 colonies declared the same thing. They would protect their Lumina refugees and work to establish this new partnership. "But what about the Coalition warships?" asked a worried voice from the crowd. Dongmin stepped forward. "We're not military colonies, but we're not helpless either. Each colony has defense systems. And more importantly, we have something the Coalition doesn't expect." "What's that?" Governor Han asked. "We have Lumina partners now. Nari and I have been working with Xing Huan on something." Xing Huan activated a device he had been building. Suddenly, Nari's light marks began pulsing in a new pattern. She looked surprised and happy. "I can feel them," she said with wonder. "I can feel other Lumina across all the colonies." "The quantum communication link works both ways," Xing Huan explained. "We can connect all the Lumina refugees across human space. They can work together even from different worlds." On the main screen, other Lumina appeared. They had been hiding on the other colonies, but now they stepped forward to be seen. There were dozens of them, all with the same blue skin and silver eyes as Nari. "My people," Nari whispered, tears glowing on her cheeks. An older Lumina appeared on one of the screens. He had scars on his face, but kind eyes. "Nari," he said in the musical Lumina language, "we heard you were alive." "Elder Joran," Nari cried out. "You survived!" "Many of us survived, child. And now, thanks to these humans, we have hope again. Governor Han called for a final vote. All in favor of protecting our Lumina refugees and establishing the new partnership program? Every hand in the room went up. On the screens, the other colonies voted the same way. Then it's decided, Governor Han said. We stand together. As if responding to this decision, Nari and the other Lumina on the screens began to glow brighter. Their light marks pulsed in perfect synchronization across 17 different worlds. What's happening? Hyunwoo asked. We're connecting, Nari said, her voice full of joy. For the first time in years, my people are working together again. The air in the meeting hall began to smell cleaner and fresher. Plants in the colony's gardens started growing faster. The water in the reservoirs became purer. They're healing our worlds just by being happy, Dr. Kim said in amazement. Outside, the stars were shining brighter than usual. In a few hours, coalition warships would arrive demanding the return of their property. But they would find something they had never expected, an alliance of humans and Lumina working together as equals, making each other stronger. The coalition thought they were coming to collect escaped slaves. Instead, they were about to discover that the galaxy had a new way of doing things. And it started with a small alien girl who ran to hide behind a human engineer who decided to protect her.